Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dreams Unlimited Travel Podcast. My name is John Magi, and I will be your host. And in this episode, we're going to talk to Tracey Heinrichs about a recent sailing she had on the Celebrity Ascent. I am joined by our panel of expert, Dreams Unlimited Travel agent and agent manager, Tracey Heinrichs.
Hi, everyone.
And our producer, Craig Williams.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for laughing at my singular joke that I use over and over again about there being one person on the show. Tracey, so glad you're on the show with us this week. So glad we're going to be talking about the Celebrity Ascent. As folks probably know, I am a big fan of Celebrity Cruise Line. We've sailed quite a bit recently over the past few years. So always nice to hear about a new sailing, a new ship, something that perhaps we'll want to experience as well. Always great to have Tracey's opinion on it. So let's get going. Tracey, tell us about what was the circumstance behind being on the Ascent? When did you travel? What was the scenario?
This sailing was it was the naming ceremony. So these are pre-inaugural. They do them when the ship gets here from Europe, and they invite travel agencies, they invite media, people like that. So it was a 2-night, we call them preview cruises. And so it's on Celebrity's dime. So there's that. So we're not paying to be there, but we do put in a lot of time as they expect us to work. We're checking out staterooms and new venues and what's new. Because it's a preview cruise, we don't always have access to all areas. Some are being used for other things, but it's basically, and then it was also the naming ceremony. And one of my guilty pleasures is below deck. So I was very excited that Captain Sandy and her sister were godmothers of this ship. Yeah.
We've sailed with Captain Sandy before. I mean, she's a great captain. Yeah. She's very interactive. She's very out
I think you're thinking about Captain Kate.
Oh, yeah, Captain Kate. I love Captain Kate.
Yes. Captain Sandy, unless you hired a private yacht and you were on Bravo, you probably didn't sail with her. But if you did, I cannot wait for that episode.
Episode of Below Deck. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what's going on. I'm getting old. So this was part of the naming. So was who was the godmother of the ship?
Captain Sandy and her sister. So it had twin godmothers because this is the first ship that they also have brothers who are co-captains. So they have two godmothers. This ship was great. They had, we saw Nate Berkus. He redesigned the sunset bar at the back of the ship. He redesigned that, and it is phenomenal. They've really, it was already a great space, but they've made it even better.
So, because it's a naming ceremony, usually sailing, there's usually quote unquote celebrities on board.
Right. Yeah. So like Daniel Ballou was on it. He's there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, there was a few people on it.
Daniel Ballou is there. I don't know. He's considered sort of the inspiration. He created the menus for a lot of the celebrity sailings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool.
And he has his own restaurant on this ship, a dedicated space. It's just outside of where Le Petit Chef is done. So there's a dedicated space in there. It's called Le Voyage, I believe. But yeah, so he's a chef, and I know he's a popular chef. I don't know if he's from one of the chef shows. I don't watch them, but he has inspired celebrity menus for some time. So
he shows up on an occasional cooking competition reality show.
Right.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your first impressions of this ship. What happened when you got on board? What did you think?
The Celebrity Ascent is part of the Edge class. So I have been lucky enough to be on all of these ships. So it's interesting to see from the Edge all the way through how they've improved and how they've changed. So, with the Ascent, everything is always just a little bit better than the last one. No major changes, but enough that you can see. This also has we talked about this on the last ship I was on. It has the restaurants are sort of open. They have that whole central area where everything is sort of open. I still don't love that. I find that if I'm having a nice dinner in a nice restaurant, hearing music, from the bar down below may not be the best choice. Um, but as far as decor, Cafe Baccio, they've improved that space, made it a little bit bigger. The center Grand Plaza where the Martini Bar is, it's kind of the center. They have the bottle throwing bartenders there. If you can kind of imagine, it's kind of the center of the ship. It's kind of where the entertainment happens. Um, and I find that people kind of gravitate to that area, especially in the evening after dinner or before dinner drinks. So they've improved that. They've opened it up more. They've improved the seating options there. So again, they just kind of, plussed everything a little bit, made it a little bit
Okay,
better. Same thing with the staterooms. The technology is still great in the staterooms where you can control everything from your phone or your iPad. The decor is lovely. Just everything was just, what we expect from an edge class ship. They've just made everything a little better.
What about you mentioned the decor? Have they changed the color scheming at all? Because I feel like the ships started out kind of dark, and now they're getting much lighter, much
Yeah,
brighter.
it's very light, very bright with splash of color. Like I think our room had splashes of like a turquoisey color. We saw some others where they were more, like oranges, but, very muted tones with a splash of color that's carried throughout the room. And we found the same thing with the ship itself. Just kind of mature looking, you know what I mean? Like grown up, not the old ship where everything was very dark wood and polished, but very contemporary.
You mentioned the restaurants being sort of off the main area of the ship, but what about the entertainment area of the ship, where the some of the lounges are? There was a bar sort of in the back of the ship that was a little bit more tucked away. Is that still an option there, or is all of that out in the open
Yep.
as well?
That's still an option. They've opened up those spaces a little bit more. They had a bar on the other ships called the World Bar, and it was kind of in an area that was a little bit hidden, and they've taken it right to the main area now, and it's really great. Especially Chris loves like craft drinks. He loves, a variety of drinks, so it's really great for that kind of stuff. Not your typical. And one of the things he continues to love is that the bars and lounges on Celebrity, they tend to all have different menus. It's not one menu throughout. And we do see that a little bit with Royal Caribbean. Disney somewhat as well, where they have a bar menu no matter what bar or lounge you're in. Whereas Celebrity tends to theme it more to where you are. Like I had mentioned, the Sunset Bar in the back. There they have, it's kind of a Moroccan theme, and they've put some light food and snacks back there that follow that theme, as well as the drinks. There's some drink options that follow that theme. Up at the rooftop. So on these ships, they have what they call the rooftop area. Rooftop grill is up there, and it's a specialty restaurant that you pay for. It can be lunch or dinner, and they had problems right from the beginning with this being where it was. When they tried to do meals up there, a little bit of wind or if the ship is moving, things were blowing everywhere. I remember on the Edge class, I saw somebody's salad blow across the room, like right out of their bowl. So it seems like each ship, they get a little better at fixing that space because it's great food up there. It's a popular venue, but it's got issues, mostly wind. So I found on this one, they had really done a great job of, blocking wind without making it an enclosed space because you're up there for fresh air. You're up there, for the scenery and sailing, and you want to know you're sailing. So I think they've done a good job on this one. We didn't get to eat there, as I said, on these inaugurals. Specialty restaurants are typically off limits to us. But just being up in that space, we noticed a difference. They also have the rooftop garden area outside of there. What they've done now is as you're approaching that area, they've put two small plunge pools, one on either side, and they kind of hang off the end. There's seating there. We found with this ship, they've done a better job of utilizing all the space. Adding these little plunge pools, the area where, the garden area, and forgive me, I'm looking at my notes a little bit because I just don't want to miss anything.
You've been on so many cruises. gotta
Well,
keep
that's
track
just
of
it.
them.
I think I just finished my fourth um, since October. So I sometimes get the ships mixed up in my head. Um, but yeah, so I talked about the garden space. I find they've even improved that a little bit. They're making all the ships I've been on lately are starting to make space for pickleball. Pickleball is, if you don't know what it is, it's like a cross, I think, between tennis, maybe like ping pong. I don't know, but it's like the latest craze that everybody wants to play pickleball. So they're making space for that, and it doesn't need really big courts, so they can, sort of make space in smaller areas. So
Did
they're
they do
doing
away
that.
with
Was
the
that
giant
in?
chess sets to put in pickleball?
No.
No, he's go ahead,
Are
Greg.
these
I'm sorry.
pickleball courts inside or outside? Because like pickleball, you're describing it very closely. It's like ping pong paddles that are a little bit oversized that then you're hitting like a wiffle ball back and forth. So if you're on like a top deck, I can't
Yeah,
imagine it's too easy to play.
I wouldn't think so. And I can tell you the couple times I saw people playing it up there, it was when the ship was not moving. So I don't know and what they've done is they took a section, and both times I saw it, it was outside. Now I don't know, no, I was on this, on the sports deck. There was nothing there when I was on Royal Caribbean. I think they're doing it outside from what I could tell. But it would be fun to watch though on a windy sea day.
It's like the
Element of
sports
danger.
decks on any ship where you're like, I mean, it's like deflated basketballs on Disney Cruise Line, and
Yeah.
even like the ping pong paddles that are completely broken on other ships. It's there for your entertainment, but I don't know how much use people actually get out of it.
At your own peril. I was surprised.
Really?
These pickleball people, though, a lot of them brought their own equipment. Like I saw some, like, oh yeah, they were walking up there with their pickleball racket bags, and yeah, they were bringing their own stuff. So they were taking no chances.
It's interesting about Celebrity, right? They have that space on deck, and it's always kind of been questionable what to use it for. Some ships have a theater up there and have cabanas. So, I mean, it's, I think they kind of haven't figured that out yet. But what about the
No.
rest of the deck space? What about pools and things like that? How was that on
The
the ship?
pool area, very similar to what we've seen on the Edge class. I didn't see any major changes there. I think they've done a good job of trying to incorporate more, more chairs and things like that. They, like I said, they added more plunge pools. They kind of always have that main pool that's a little bit of a feature, and you just don't get as many kids on Celebrity. So I find the pool space, it just doesn't have the same issue that you see on more family-oriented ships.
This is not slides or,
No,
fountain areas for kids type of cruise. This
right.
is
You're
for
not going to
more
find a splash.
traditional pools
Yes, it is.
and a
It
lot
is.
more hot tubs, which is very
Yes.
popular. The hot tubs are
Right.
very popular.
Yeah. And the ship, of course, had the magic carpet that they use for different things.
What is that?
It's a
Tell people
bar
what that
most of
is.
the time. It's like an extension off the side of the ship that can move up and down to different floors. So, for example, they'll use it if you're tendering. They'll use it as like a tender lobby. So they'll bring it down to deck 3, maybe deck 2, and it gives you a space to wait and to tender off. They use it as a bar. They sometimes will do special meals in there, and it moves kind of. Nobody's on it when it moves. They just kind of place it on different decks based on what it's going to do.
It's kind of Celebrity's big gimmick,
Right.
for lack of a better word. And it's cool.
Yes.
It's a cool feature, but it's not like, I have to be on the ship with the magic carpet.
No, what it does is it gives the ship that appeal from the outside. You see it as like the dark blue ships with the orange apparatus for this to go up and down, and so you'll recognize an Edge class ship based on that being on the outside.
What's the newest or the newer restaurants on the ship? You mentioned La Petite Chef, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
What else is out there that's a little bit new?
The only thing that was really new was the Voyage by Daniel Boulou. Most of the rest of it was the same. So you still have, the I've been on too many ships. You know, the what's it called? Fine cuts or something.
Nobody
But
feels sorry for you.
I
Just want to
know,
let you
poor
know
me,
that.
right?
Poor
Oh, everybody
Tracy.
playing their violins at home. Woo! um, so yeah, so it's pretty much the same. Ocean View Cafe. You know, we've talked about before how much we love the buffets on Celebrity, just the way they're laid out, the quality of the food. This one they somehow improved, and I thought they were pretty good before, but they've just spread it out more. It's laid out a little bit different. That the flow makes more sense. Added more seating. Um, Really a great space and a great option when you don't want the dining room. So what they do on here, I mentioned the specialty restaurants that are kind of in that main area. But what they also do here is they've continued with doing this smaller restaurants instead of having a big main dining room hall. So we really like that. We like that, you know, you can go to one of these different venues. I think there's 3 of them. And one is French, one is American, one is Mediterranean or Greece. So they'll have some specialty menu items based on their theme, but then the rest of the menu is the same throughout the restaurants. And what it does is it just takes you out of that. You know, most ships, of course, have the big main dining room. It's massive. It's 3 floors, tables everywhere. This feels more like I've gone to a local restaurant to have dinner. It's quieter. The ceilings are lower. There's not as many people. Um, Seating is more, you know, you may find half booths and chairs. There's different varieties of seating. It just doesn't feel like that big main restaurant. And we really like that kind of dining.
It's tough to do on a cruise like this because it is invited guests and it's a sort of a way for the cruise line to show off their latest ship. So it's not really fair to judge the food, I think. But
Mhm.
overview, what was your
Yeah.
impression of the food?
Well, we found that it was on par with what we have had with Celebrity before. We've mentioned, you know, we've talked about it. Well, anytime we've talked about Celebrity, is that we're real fans of the food, even main dining room food, which we're not, you know, we don't typically, you know, on Royal Caribbean, I don't love main dining room, but on Celebrity, you know, we like it. We find it's good quality, it's good value, and it doesn't feel like, oh, we're eating in the main dining room tonight, or you don't feel like you're eating in a cafeteria and everything's just kind of being brought out. So we really liked it. Now, of course, on these inaugural cruises, you can't, as you said, really judge the food because they're bringing out the best of the best, right? You know, the seafood and the meat carving stations in Ocean View Cafe were incredible. It was like a seafood extravaganza, and that would not be a typical sailing. Like they would have a day for that, but it wouldn't be all the time like it was on this sailing. You know, the meals that we had in the main dining room, while we were in a specific restaurant, I don't know that we were getting that main dining room's regular menu. I think maybe they upped it for that evening and just kind of had, you know, maybe a sample of what all the restaurants would be because you didn't have the opportunity to eat everywhere. But
Yeah, I mean it's still a nice thing to be able to go and experience, but you can't. I mean, we went on one, I forget what ship it was, and it was like the welcome buffet with
yeah,
snow crab legs and giant shrimp, and you think, oh yeah, this isn't real.
right.
This isn't real life.
So on this, you were talking about like crab legs and stuff. Ocean View on our embarkation day buffet had lobster tails, like
Yeah,
unlimited lobster tails. Like I've never seen that. So they really do pull out all the stops for us on these. So it's not really, you know, it's not a fair assessment of the food
right.
for sure because it was incredible. Um,
Did you get
what
a
else?
chance to do a stateroom tour on this sailing?
Yes, same thing on this one. They always kind of give us a list and have us go through this what they want us to see. Having been on all the Edge class ships, um, for us there really wasn't that much different. You know, as far as the suites, like I said, some slight upgrades or updates on decor and stuff, maybe some different layouts, but pretty much the same as what we've seen on the other Edge class ships. Um, we did. What did I want to say? Oh, the retreat area on this sailing or on this ship. It, I feel it's been improved a little bit. There's more outside area, more places to sit. They also had a casual dining area where, you know, they were bringing, you know, food out to you, where you could sit outside and enjoy it. this is of course besides the suite, restaurant, and lounge. This was just a separate area for when you were out on deck. And I felt like that space looked a little more open and a little more robust than we saw on the previous ship.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never been a fan of the retreat areas on Celebrity. They don't impress me.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that there's a place to eat up there is great. For those who don't know, the retreat is kind of what they call their suite or concierge outdoor space for Celebrity Cruise Line. Private pool and things like that, which is, always nice if you were a suite or concierge guest. What about the concierge lounge and things like that? Did you get a chance to see those?
We couldn't get in. It was closed off to us, so we weren't able to see that, or we weren't able to see the restaurant either. They were both closed off. We were only able to see the deck area. From what I understand, what I was told is both are slightly bigger, a little more open. Michael's Lounge, the suite lounge on some Celebrity ships, is quite small, but yeah. I think on the Edge class they've been improving them. Also on this ship, so the entire, the Eden space, we had talked about how weird it was on the Edge class, and they keep making it better as they go through the different ships. This one I thought was my favorite so far. A little more open, better seating. My understanding is they've improved the menu at the Eden restaurant. They also have, it's a bit of a quick service there where you can grab and you can get stuff, which always was complimentary. They've added a couple items now where you have to pay. They had a lobster roll. That was a charge. I don't know the charge because for us, everything was just complimentary. But so there are a couple items, specialty items in there to pay for. I have to tell you, the lobster sandwich that I saw wouldn't be something I would pay extra for. It wasn't that phenomenal that it looked like it deserved an upcharge, but maybe on a regular sailing they'll change that. So that whole area they improved. I think, I'm not sure, but I got to talk to somebody who, he didn't give me his name, but he was very high up in the ship design and choice, like decision making, and he kind of implied that this will be the last Edge class for a bit. And that his team was moving over to start working on Oasis class. So he did give me a little bit of a tidbit that we might see a new Oasis class ship coming from Royal Caribbean.
So what's happening too is the Equinox class of Celebrity is being, those ships are being rehabbed, and they're being more of this class of ship that you were just on. So we're going to see a lot more of that. You talked about the suites area being very small. That is true of the Equinox and that class of ship. Suite area has always been very weird on that ship. So hopefully they'll improve that as well. I know you went real quick over the staterooms and no big changes. Let folks who are familiar with Disney know some of the differences on the Celebrity Ascent versus other Disney ships. I think that's something that people will appreciate, that comparison, stateroom wise.
Right. So I think one of the biggest differences is the majority of verandas on the Edge class ships are infinity verandas. And an infinity veranda is, the veranda itself is an extension of the inside space. So normally you would get to the veranda, you'd open up your patio doors and you would step outside. What the infinity veranda does is it brings that outside veranda inside. So there's usually like a flooring change when you get to where that veranda is. There'll be a couple chairs and usually a small table. And there's remotely, you can drop the window. And to think about, I say window, but it's the size of patio doors. So it's full size without the full apparatus of, the up and down, where the doors open and close. So when you push the button, the top window comes all the way down to meet the bottom window. And I would say it's probably 3.5, 4 feet tall when you stand up to it and you're looking out over the water. So it's open air. And the great thing about it is it gives more space. I'm typically not sailing in a suite. So anytime I can get more inside space, that's very valuable to me. I find it more usable than veranda space. While I like having the veranda for fresh air, I also like having the inside space. So I find this gives me both. Um, and so I really enjoy that aspect of it. And, sometimes I'm just sitting at the desk, or in the evenings, we're watching TV and laying on the bed, and you've got this fresh air coming in because you can open that top window. So really nice. And the captain also has control of it. So if all of a sudden there's weather, they can close all of those windows. It also has a blind that comes down and covers it completely. So you don't have to worry about light coming in if you don't want it. So that's probably one of the bigger differences. The other difference is that with Celebrity, also with other cruise lines, but Celebrity we're talking about now, um, very hard to come by a stateroom that sleeps 5 people, whereas on Disney we have classes dedicated, or categories dedicated to sleeping families of 5. So you'll find that to be much more difficult. It's more common. I would say there's probably more staterooms that sleep 2, and then you'll find some that sleep 3, some that sleep 4. Hard to come by something that sleeps 5. So at that point, we're usually putting families into connecting rooms. So that'll be a difference. The bathrooms, you're not finding split bathrooms for the most part on a Celebrity ship, especially in the regular categories. You may find in a suite a split or 1.5 baths, but generally in the regular staterooms. The other thing I find the biggest difference in Disney ships and other cruises, especially the newer ships, with this ship, there is a 50, 55-inch TV on the wall. And I know some people say, well, that's not necessary. And Disney has those tiny little TVs that, move over from the desk. So having the 50, 55-inch TV on the wall, the technology in the room, you can control the TV, the air conditioning, the heat, the lights, all from the app on your phone. So that's definitely a nice touch. Generally speaking, the bathrooms don't have tubs. You're typically a walk-in shower. So that's, coming from Disney, where basically everything has a tub. That's often a change that we need to make our Disney families aware of when they're coming to a different cruise line.
What's nice, what seems to be happening, a trend in the industry, is that they're going to a lot more plugs in a stateroom. Is there more
Yes.
plugs in the stateroom?
Absolutely. So part of the technology is now you've got USB chargers at your desk. You got regular plugs, at your bed. So at either sides of the bed, there's options for charging. There's a lot more options for charging in the desk area. They have like a little. The Edge class ship has these little boxes that you open up, and it's like almost like a power adapter in there, where you can plug in a number of things. So really, they've improved that. And I was just on the Allure not that long ago, and boy, like there was nothing but 2 plugs at the desk, and you realize, oh, this is what cruising used to be like. I forgot. So really good at that, adding, because people are charging so many things now.
Right.
And again, it comes down to cruise lines realizing that people cruise differently now than they used to. Not everybody wants to unplug when they get on a ship. And I would say it's probably gone the opposite, where most people want to stay in touch. And they've made everything app-based, so you need to have your devices charged. So really great job at doing that.
Excellent. All right. So on to my favorite part of the ship, thing I like to know about, the casino. Celebrity, not always known for big casinos. They kind of have small spaces. How'd they do on this ship?
Same thing. The casinos are, do you know what's funny on these ships, though? We talk about the spaces being small, and we talk about it kind of not, being as popular. And so I don't know if it's because they're not bigger and more exciting, or because they know their audience, their cruisers, are just not that interested. Because rarely is it full. Like when you're on a Royal Caribbean ship, the casino's hopping almost always. And on Celebrity, it's just not the case. And they usually have it off of their version of the promenade. So it's still that. One thing I love about a Celebrity casino is that they're completely non-smoking. So there's that as well. But slightly bigger maybe, but kind of the casinos on a Celebrity ship, I just sort of find them unremarkable.
Interesting about the casinos is that when you talk to people who sail Celebrity a lot for the casino program, which all cruise lines have it, where you do a loyalty program and you can be offered perks, they either love it or they hate it. Oh, I like the fact that it's intimate. I like that the tables are available. I like that the slots are available. Then there are people like, no, I want it to be full and full of life. So, to each their own,
Yeah.
right? People seem to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Do you do
All
the
right,
tables
anything
on
else?
Celebrity?
I
I was just wondering
apologize.
about the tables on Celebrity. When I notice when I'm walking by them, it seems like their minimums are higher than what we see on Royal. Do you find that, or is it just certain times?
No, absolutely. Their minimums are much higher than Royal, and it always interests me because you walk in and there'll be no one at a table,
Right.
and you say to them, "Listen, if you just made your minimums a little bit less, you'll get more people over and you'll get engaged." They're not interested in it. They've
Yeah.
decided this is how they want to present themselves, and so you know what? That's you be part of that game. Anything we didn't talk about? You want to mention about the Celebrity Ascent?
I don't think so. I think just in general, these ships. I think these ships are great for people who like what new ships have to offer. They like the upgrades. It's a little bit bigger than their other ships, but it's not Oasis class. So I find with Celebrity is these Edge class ships are sort of in the middle, and they give us that big ship feel with all of the things that they're offering without, I think those of us that sail Celebrity and enjoy it and prefer it, we're not doing the water slides. We're not doing all of the rock climbing and all of that kind of stuff. And you don't, it's just a different feel. And I think that's what I probably love about this class of ship. It gives me, you know, the big ship feel, but still the intimacy of a smaller, maybe a little bit more uh, luxury. I use that word cautiously, experience.
A little less mega liner and a little bit more
Yes.
intimate for sure. Excellent. So before we end this show, I know, Tracey, you've got a couple of groups going in the future. Some folks who have sailed with you before, but also you have some new group stuff planned. So let folks know the dates of those groups, where you're going, and how they can sign up for those.
Okay. At this point, I have 3 groups on the go. So the first one is coming up soon. It's Norway from Southampton. It's Royal Caribbean aboard the Anthem of the Seas. And that one's departing May 12th. It's 7 nights doing Norway. The ship still has availability. So if anybody is interested in that one, just pop me an email. The other thing we're doing is in 25, we have 2 what I consider really exciting groups because they're both areas and trips I've not done before. So I'm really excited. The first one is February 18th of 25. We're sailing with Celebrity to Asia. So this one is, I want to say 12 nights. And Chris and I are going to be adding Disney parks before and after, just because we're in that part of the world. But great itinerary there. We're hitting a lot of the highlights. Thailand, of course, everywhere we're going is escaping me right now, but trust me, it's a good itinerary. If you want more information about that one, you can email me as well. And then the last one, December 6th of 2025, we're doing a Christmas markets on the Danube, and we're sailing from Munich to Budapest with the option of a 3-night add-on in Prague. This one we're doing with Scenic River Cruising, and this is new for us. We've not done anything with Scenic. But the group that contacted me and wanted to get started on this, they were looking for something different. They want something different. They've done Viking, they've done Alma, and they were looking for a little bit more of a luxury product. And Scenic is ultra luxury inclusive for the river cruise market. So we're doing that as well. And I will say, even though it's December of 25, space is starting to sell out on that one. I think that ship or that riverboat is going to sell out. So any of these interest you and if you want more information, you can email me at Tracey H, that's TRACEYH, at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com.
Awesome. I got to tell you, Christmas Marcus cruises, my favorites. Some of my favorite memories, some of the best cruises ever, Christmas Markets cruises. I am jealous of your Asia cruise. Great part of the world, seeing things you've never seen before. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. all of these are great. So interested, please reach out to Tracey for those groups specifically. If you're interested in sailing on a celebrity cruise line, the Celebrity Ascent, or any celebrity ship, you can reach out to your Dreams Unlimited travel agent. Or if you don't have a Dreams Unlimited travel agent, you can contact Tracey, as she mentioned, Tracey H at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Thank you, everybody at home, for listening and watching. We hope you have a great week, and we hope you have a great vacation.